I'm play-by-play your color.
Sounds good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the TowerDiveTV Weekly Tournament number 31, sorry. Thank you for tuning in with us. I'm Azaraki here, and I'm casting with Fancy Zergling. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Azaraki. Good to be here today.
Yes, indeed, it is really good. It's a nice day outside right now.
Very
This
nice.
past week, I don't know about where you live, but in Vermont there has just been complete downpour, so much rain recently, and it is a pretty nice day right now, for me anyway.
Over here in Connecticut, it's been a little humid. I'm from Arizona myself, so I'm used to a dry heat. But I'm
Right.
hoping we'll get some rain and brush out some of this humidity.
Yes, humidity seems to bother me a lot more than actual normal dry heat does.
Oh,
I,
definitely.
I'm not sure why. It's just that sort of thing. I don't really like the whole muggy feeling. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. It's just because, once you start sweating and then you feel
Yeah,
gross and then that sweat can't evaporate because there's already water in the air, so you're just sitting there in sweat and it's just
you
making you
feel
even
really,
hotter.
feel really weird.
Really nasty.
Yeah,
All right. So what are the first teams we're going to be watching today? Do we know yet?
we do have. Not sure what the team names are, but it's Smiley's game. You can go ahead and start. Be the one to go into the custom game for that, since you'll be color casting.
Will do. All right.
And in the meantime, I want to see how you guys are doing in chat. How's it going? TDTV tourney is greater than good weather. That's good. Good to know. I agree. I completely agree with you right there. This is a tourney that's been run every single week, every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm glad everyone here could join us.
So I have to ask, what would you rather do, TDTV or Saturday morning cartoons?
I'd have to say TDTV. Well, I'll be quite
Well,
honest. And I feel like the quality of Saturday morning cartoons have steadily declined as well. Way back when you had the Tom and Jerry and all that good stuff. Now
oh
it's
yeah.
just kind of I don't even know what's on right now, but I glance over every now and again, like flipping through channels or whatever, and it just doesn't feel like it's the same quality as it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. I'm, now I understand that I'm doing a whole reminiscent thing here, but definitely the first couple seasons of Pokemon. Then you had the X-Men. What was it? Evolution series. Then let's see what else there is. The original Digimon. Fun fact was on Tuesdays because I remember having recorded every day.
Yep. And just taking a look through the brackets so far, looking at the teams, looks like we have a couple of returning teams. I believe Steezy Gaming has been here a couple times before. Fighting Flying Squirrels, they've made it quite far in the tournament multiple times. It's very awesome to see them back into it. Past that, we have Team Siren, who have been attending a lot of these events recently, quite a few in a row. They've been doing pretty well themselves. And we also have other teams like it says Teeny Pudge, but I think that might be Tiny Pudge with slight name change. Going to assume it is for now, and that would be pretty awesome. Let's keep going down the list, see if there's anyone else that we can recognize. We have NTD Gaming returning. That's always a great match. So I can see we're gonna have some pretty awesome semifinals as well as finals today, and I'm really excited to see those.
Definitely. Who would you say is the favorite out of all the teams to win this tournament?
The favorite, I think it's gonna have to be NTD. NTD has always been giving a good showing in these TowerDiveTV Weekly tournaments. We could also see Fighting Flying Squirrels pull out a victory, but I think those two will probably end up being in the finals. They're both on two different halves of the bracket, so we could possibly see that matchup, or someone could surprise us. Like a couple times, a couple weeks, we always have one team that we have no idea who they are. They just join the tourney for the first time, and they completely, win the game. They destroy everyone. It's really fun to see those.
Oh, definitely. So what are some of the picks you think we're going to see today? Some of the popular picks and some of the popular bands.
I think for the most part, we're going to see very regular bands and picks. Picks might actually waver a little bit because a lot of picks are determined on team. just the way the team works and their own preferences in terms of what they want to pick. So what we have is we're gonna have Thresh banned. I can see in a lot of different games, almost every game, I have to say. It's a very, very popular ban. It's- And with good reason as well. He's a very strong support. He's got a lot of CC.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the jungle picks we might see today then if we see more Thresh bans and support bans?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
What are some of the jungle picks we're going to be seeing if we see more support bans and that kind of thing?
If we see more support bans, we do see a lot of support and jungler bans, to be honest. It's getting much more common.
Mm-hmm.
And there we go. I am in the game now. Let's go ahead and get this game underway. We'll be ready fairly soon, and we're going to get into the picks and bans now. In the meantime, just talk a little bit more about some of the picks and bans. Obviously, for junglers, we see a lot of high priority, big AoE teamfight junglers being banned nowadays. People like Jarvan, who's got some really nice AoE ability as well as tankiness and great CC. We also see Amumu, not banned as often, but he's still banned a pretty good deal because his ultimate can really just turn the tides of a fight and shut
Mm-hmm.
down any mobility that the enemy team has. Hecarim's also a very good jungler for that sort of big control AoE, as well as being a very tanky jungler. So those are the kind of junglers we're seeing nowadays. Those are the kind of junglers that will be banned every now and again. And the reason for that, we're seeing less of a priority in terms of high damage junglers. We're not seeing people like Shyvana being played all that often anymore, and mainly that's because there's just been this huge AoE ultimate stack comp's been going around across the board, and so many people have been running those that they want junglers that can synergize with those kind of comps, and generally a lot of those high damage junglers won't be able to put out as much AoE damage. Even
Mm-hmm.
examples like Shyvana won't be able to. But it looks like we are in the picks and bans right now, and we have a Blitzcrank band for the blue team. Obviously, that big support picks, as we know, pretty awesome. Blitzcrank has got a lot of CC as well as he can reposition you with his grab, which is something that only 3 or 4 people can actually do in the game. So it's very, very strong ability. I can definitely see why they are banning it.
Definitely. One of the things I'm surprised we haven't seen yet is a Thresh ban. Thresh provides the same pulling ability that Blitzcrank does.
Yeah, it's possible that they might be going for a first pick Thresh, and yeah, there it is. Alright, didn't want to ban Thresh because they were going to take it first, and that's going to be very, very powerful for them. I'm honestly a little bit surprised that Purple Team didn't end up banning out Thresh. They did ban, however, Jarvan, Nidalee, and Ezreal. So
Mm-hmm.
Ezreal, we know for the blue build, he's been really, really strong. Gets a lot of cooldown reduction as well as a lot of damage and kiting potential. So it's a very, very strong pick and a very strong ban, and I can definitely see why they would do that. Jarvan, as I said before, that really big AoE CC jungler, very high priority pick. A good thing they banned him. Nidalee, however, isn't actually that big of a ban, I would have to say. She's got a lot of poke, but past that, she's not really used for too much. It might be a respect ban or a targeted ban at the blue team. Maybe one of their
Mm-hmm.
players really likes Nidalee. They see that and they'll say, "All right, we got to take this person off of Nidalee. Make sure they don't get it, so that they don't destroy us in lane with it, don't destroy us in team fights with it." But past that, as we said, Nidalee's just got a lot of poke, and poke is something that you can ban against, but a better team, a team with good coordination, is going to be able to say, all right, we know that she's going to poke us down. We have to engage really, really quickly, and they'll be able to do that. But let's run through some of the other picks in this game. We have Zac, Malphite, both on the purple team locked in, and the blue team we have Nautilus and Draven. So the blue team going for their AD carry fairly early, and
Mm-hmm.
this it's one of those things where almost every lane in the entire game has a deep significance to it, and even support nowadays we're seeing can turn entire games. That's why Blitzcrank gets banned. That's why Thresh gets first picked. Is that supports can turn games around. So there's really no, all right, well, we can afford to pick these champions first because they're not as important. And if we get counterpicked, then it's not really too much. But even now, since supports are so useful, we even see the Leona pick coming out right now saying, all right, Draven, you want to all in? We'll just try to all in you harder. They've got so much burst down on the purple team's bot lane. We have Graves as well as Leona. They've got quite a bit of burst damage applying Leona's procs as well as her CC.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that was one of the best things to go to in order to combat Draven's early game. Going that Leona Graves lane, something we don't usually see the Graves, will definitely throw blue team up for a loop, as I'm sure they haven't really come across that late as of late. Another thing I want to point out is now that blue team managed to get Nautilus and Thresh, they have so much disposition on their team. It's going to be fall on red team to be extremely careful with their positioning in order not to get caught out by them.
It's going to take a lot of positioning, and that's one of the biggest things that you have to keep in mind when you're playing against Leona is that positioning is everything, and a lot of people actually end up foregoing some of those big warding positions in the enemy brush, for example. A lot of people don't end up warding that against Leona, and that's often a pretty big mistake because even though you know Leona's in the bush, you know she can Zenith Blade, there are many advantages of keeping a ward in that bush. Basically, you
Mm-hmm.
get to poke her down with auto attacks or any sort of targeted spell, and you can also tell where she is in that bush, because if she's sitting at the very back of the bush away from you, then you know, all right, we can be a little bit more aggressive. We can go out and farm a little bit more. But on the other hand, if you see her very far up in the bush, ready to Zenith Blade, then you know, all right, we're going to step it back a little bit and make sure that she can't land that Zenith Blade. So wards are definitely important against Leona, and I really hope I see the blue team utilize that.
Oh, yes. It's definitely one of those cases of out of sight, out of mind, where you definitely don't want Leona being just able to go to and from that bush as she pleases and into your bush as she pleases, because the inability to poke her down as she can just keep jumping on you and then getting out of there is just so important. And then just as if you're weak, Zach comes in here, jumps on you. That's a double kill for the enemy team, and your tower is taking massive damage.
That's very true. And a couple of other things about this bot lane, especially with Leona, is one of the best ways to fight Leona is to basically poke her down and make sure you don't get initiated on. She has no sustain and she has no poke on her own. It's all basically, she's gonna all in. Every single one of her abilities, except for her ultimate, is either she needs to be close range in order to use it,
Mm-hmm.
or she needs to get to close range after using it, like Zenith Blade or Shield of Daybreak. So those abilities basically force her to get in the fight and to make sure that she doesn't stay back and poke at you. And you can really use that to your advantage sometimes by saying, all right, let's poke her down until the point where she has about 200 health. That way she'll have to play passively, and she won't be able to jump on one of us because we'll just
Mm-hmm.
burst her down if she does, because she's got such a low amount of health. And that's a good way to play against Leona. And it takes a lot of skill, it takes a lot of micromanagement in order to do that, because you need to be careful. If you make a mistake and she does land a Zenith Blade, then you're going to have a lot of damage on you. But fortunately for the blue team, they have a support like Lux, I believe. We might be seeing... Oh, wait,
Mm.
sorry, it's the
No.
Thresh support. Lux is mid, what am I
Yes.
saying? They have a Thresh on their team. So Thresh is going to be able to CC her as well, so they're really going to have to fight over this a little bit.
Now, Lux is another strong pick that we've actually been seeing quite a lot of lately. What are some of the things that have happened to bring Lux back into competitive play?
One of the biggest things about Lux is just the fact that she has so much burst damage at in a short amount of time. She can land her Q, auto attack, E, auto attack, R, auto attack. Or you can actually, you don't have to auto attack between the E and the R in order to proc that, because her ultimate actually procs her passive, which is a really great aspect of her kit as well. So if she lands a long range Lucent Singularity, which is her AoE E, then she'll be able to pop that, and she doesn't have to get close in order to get the proc off. She can just ultimate. And combining all that together, she has immense burst damage. She can really do tons of damage in a fight. And past that, she's also got pretty short cooldowns on her ultimate. And on top of that, sometimes we see Lux build quite a bit of cooldown reduction. We're going to see her be able to spam spells a lot and burst down a lot of people really, really quickly.
And then in the top lane, we're going to probably, more than likely, see a Singe versus Malphite. Singe obviously going to be able to get around the armor. Who would you give the advantage to in that lane, with Malphite being able to poke Singe and Singe being able to get around Malphite's armor?
I think I'm going to have to call the top lane sort of in Singed's favor. After the first couple levels, he gets really tanky once he's able to go back and buy things. And at that point, he can really just treat top lane like a farm lane. There's really not too much that Malphite can do to directly damage him. He can throw out a seismic shard every now and again, but when when Singed is able to get some more magic resistance, some more health, then he's not really going to care too much about those seismic shards. So he's only really going to have to be careful about ganks. And at that point, he can, farm up into the late game. And a well-farmed Singed is most of the time more powerful than a well-farmed Malphite, because Malphite, his kit is good whether or not he's farmed or not. But the amount of farm he has doesn't really advance his kit as much as it advances Singed, where Singed can literally just walk through your team, poison a bunch of people, and stay alive throughout the entire thing because he's just so tanky. So I'm going to have to say Singed is probably going to end up ahead in this laning phase.
Definitely, and that's something that nobody wants to see. So we're probably going to be expecting to see a lot of Zac pressure on top lane due to that fact that they don't want Singed to be farming, becoming that absolute monster, correct?
Yeah, Singed, if they let him farm, just completely free farm, then they're going to have a lot of trouble. Fortunately for the red team, Zac is going to be able to do a lot of damage to Singed because he's got so many ways to get into the lane. His elastic slingshot allows him to jump really, really large distances, more than most other junglers can. I think Nocturne is the main one that's able to rival him in terms of distance he can gank from, but it's really hard to see Zac coming when he uses those abilities. So on top of that, he also has a lot of CC, so he's going to be something that Singed wants to watch out for, and Singed is really going to want to forward ward, make sure he knows that's where Zac is coming from before he goes, because oftentimes Zac can jump over a lot of your ward positions and just basically come unnoticed. So it's something that Singed is really going to watch out for, and I really hope that the red team takes advantage of their high CC jungler and tries to make something happen top in order to shut down Singed.
All right. There's another thing I wanted to bring up is that the burden to initiate these fights is definitely going to be on red team here, as they do have Zac and Malphite who are quite good at it. But if they don't get those, if they don't get those initiations off, they're going to be in quite a bind, as blue team is able to get in there and just dominate them after getting a lucky grab or two.
Yeah, and it looks like we are in the game now. Both teams, they're just going to start mobilizing out to wherever they decide to start. Now, looking at the teams, I think the blue team might end up pulling in an invade because they have a lot of level 1 CC. They have Thresh, Nautilus, as well as Lux, and on top of that, they have Draven spinning axes, which do a ton of damage. So I could really see them invading, and it looks like they're going to do just that.
Oh yes, I'd love to see this. I love to see people doing something that's out of the ordinary here, just going in there trying to assert their dominance in the game. It's a lot like football, where you can show that you're ready to get in there, ready to put out that damage, and ready to punch them in the face. You're going to set the tempo for that game, and we definitely see that right now.
And it looks like a lot of missed CC for the red team, although Draven might be overextending a little bit. Unfortunately, no one else from the red team able to follow up with that. But Orianna basically got into lane really early, and she was able to spot this aggression. But good for the blue team. The red team knows how much early power they have. They're going to be able to muscle their way into this jungle and take the blue buff. It looks like the red team, they're responding by going into the enemy's blue buff as well.
Mm-hmm. That was kind of a fault at blue team. They're not getting a ward over there, or some kind of contingency plan to make sure that red team didn't get over there and kind of take their buff. It's going to be up to blue team now to either try to get over there and prevent their buff from being taken, or just try to play without it. Definitely, though, we do see them moving into their own jungle and Singed going to top. We might be seeing a gank onto Singed here if he's not careful.
Yeah, but I'm sort of confused about the fact that the blue team is going for their own red. They should, by this point, know the fact that the red team's going for their own blue. Mm-hmm. And right now, the blue team, they're going to basically be down a buff, because in order to get their blue buff, they're going to have to invade the enemy jungle.
Exactly.
And at that point, it's really, really risky. So I'm wondering why they didn't stay there, or as you said, put a ward in their own blue buff to basically see anything that could happen.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I definitely now give the advantage to red team just because of that. They have no idea that blue just did that. They may have an inclination, but they have no idea that how many people were there, whether they should have actually gone for the blue buff. It's just so much. Red team's in so much a better position now, giving Zac that blue buff and then being able to come in here and continue his jungle almost as usual.
There we go. Leona pokes in and sees that her blue buff is actually still there. Mm-hmm. So Zac is probably going to be making his way to defend that. Unfortunately, Nautilus, it looks like he's in the jungle, and the red team, they have no wards in there of themselves, so they're not going to see this.
We actually see not Zach going for his own red, so Nas may be able to get this blue buff easily without any contestation whatsoever. We do see that there is a lot of pressure down here at this tower with Graves taking tons of damage.
Yeah, Draven's spinning axes really do a lot of damage in the early game, as well as apply a bleed proc, which does damage over time. He also popped his ignite in that engagement, and we can see right here that Thresh really wants to land a hook. He's trying to stay out of the minions as much as he can. So he lands the hook, and there we go. Draven is going to try to do as much as he can, but a quick draw away will save Graves' life. And in the meantime, the mid lane, we had a gank, but it looks like Zac was there, able to counter gank. Oh, Lux lands it, and there goes the hook from Nautilus. It looks like he's going to be able to pick up the kill. Great first blood kill for the blue team.
Yeah, that was an excellent pickup by Nautilus there, just being able to flash it in there, take him out, and then with Lux's excellent range and poke, just taking out that Orianna for a quick first blood. It was quite the play.
Do you think the Orianna might have stayed there a little bit too long, seeing, all right, Nautilus is still in the lane. I'm just going to try to farm. I don't think that might have been the best idea for her.
Oh, definitely not.
It looks like in the bot lane we have a Thresh pull as he's going to try to do as much as he can to kill Leona, but it looks like Draven is going to take a lot from the towers himself. Thresh able to shield him a little bit. It looks like we might see a little bit more in terms of an engagement, and there we go. Graves is extremely low right now. We might be seeing a dive. Thresh is got his full health bar, so we might be able to see that. Unfortunately for them, the red team does have Leona.
Yeah, as we do see Zac coming in here, but going back to Thresh landing that hook, that's one of the main things about displacement is that it just can so easily force a flash, and that's one of the most powerful things you can think of is because flash is on such a low cooldown, or such a high cooldown, excuse me, that its utility is so necessary for surviving these lanes, and once it goes down, you have such a better time to facilitate ganks for your jungle.
And there we go. He lands the hook on Zac. It looks like he's going to land the flay as well. The axe comes out. It might not be able to kill him, however. The bleed not doing enough as he pops a potion. Zac is going to live.
See, just popping those flashes left and right. That's going to be so huge here to come as more and more ganks start to fall, more engagements start to come in here. I've definitely been seeing that in this game we've been seeing a lot of defensive flashes, but
and it looks like Leona is going to try to make action happen here as he does, and there goes the Thresh hook, turning the fight around, and it looks like Draven, he's going to be going a little bit too far. Unfortunately, there goes Leona, she's going to get killed by the bleed stacks, and Draven gets out, only tanking one tower hit. Great play there.
And see, that's what I'm talking about right there. There could have been a flash just out of that fight, and Leona could still be alive, but Thresh just forcing that flash earlier on cemented that kill for blue team.
And it looks like in the top lane we have an engagement. Here goes the Singed Fling, flashes out of Nautilus's hook, and there goes that engagement. But good thing for the blue team, they did force a flash.
And then Nautilus can just come right back in here and get him as soon as he overextends again, which against Singed isn't too often as he's going to keep poisoning those lanes, keep it pushed.
We have a lot of trading in the mid lane. It looks like Nautilus is going to see if he can do anything. A great snare landed by Lux, and that's going to be a very dead Orianna. Very quick kill. Great snare by Lux.
Yeah, we can see the value of that Lux pick, just all that CC, that range, as Nautilus comes in here and supports her dragging.
There goes the Thresh hook in the bottom lane. The Flay almost lands, but it looks like they might be able to turn this around. And there goes the barrier popped, and it looks like Leona's going back into the fight. He's going to try as much as he can to kill. However, Graves gets taken down by Ignite from Thresh, and it looks like Draven is going to try to chase this, but doesn't want to take a tower hit. And there we go. The bot lane for blue team still lives after that engagement with such a low amount of health.
We can see just how strong these picks are and how great even a small shield such as Thresh's can do in order to keep your lane alive. Really, with Draven's just superior range and ability to poke Graves and Leona down, they're setting the tempo so high for this lane that really it's going to be a struggle for the bottom lane to come back and really have an impact on this game, even at this mark. Now, we do see about a 4K gold advantage for the blue team here. That's ridiculous for this early in the game, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it really is pretty ridiculous. And we're seeing that the blue team, they're going to be able to build quite a bit. Singed on the top lane has Catalyst going into a Rod of Ages.
Not only that, but Draven was already able to go back now and buy a BF sword and a longsword, along with some potions as well. We just see how he's utilizing all that gold, all that damage, everything in order just to push an even further lead. What are some of the things that you think Red could do to try to come back into this game?
Well, to come back into the game, the red team, they're really just going to have to try to make more happen in their lanes. Right now, they're all getting beaten down a little bit, and unfortunately, Zach hasn't really been able to do as much as he wants to. He's going to try to make something happen in the mid lane with a slingshot, going in for a level 4 versus level 7, but they might be able to pick up the kill since Orianna is there doing her auto attacks as well, but it looks like a counter gank from Nautilus. A great laser from Lux is going to land the kill, and there goes the ultimate from Nautilus. They might be able to pick up the kill on him as well. Zach is just about to go down. His passive is popped. Don't want to dive under tower for the passive, but meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we do have a double kill as Draven just decides to go under the tower, dive for the kill, and he's going to go on a killing spree. We really see the amount of damage he's doing with that BF sword pickup.
Like we said earlier, that they're just so far behind that it's going to be they're going to have a lot more ganks from Zach, and really that's just not going to happen as each lane keeps needing that pressure from Zach. I think we've seen Zach once down in bottom lane this entire game.
Yeah, he was. He's not really doing enough, as much as he could, in order to keep pressure on the lanes. And we see the fact that both junglers have taken Spirit Stone. Why don't you tell us why this is such a good item for junglers?
Well, the Spirit Stone is so good because it does provide that regeneration for them, and even though it does give them that ability to farm their minions faster, and they really want that regeneration so they can go in between lanes and recover that health and mana to provide even more ganks. So
and those items build into fairly awesome items themselves, with Blessing of the Lizard Elder as well as Spirit of the Ancient Golem.
And those items, as we see, are not only is Spirit of the Elder Lizard just an essential item for Blue Ezreal, but they give so many stats themselves that it's hard to justify not picking them up for many other characters.
It looks like Draven is going to try to kill Graves under his own tower, getting him down to a fairly low amount of health. However, he will live, and Zac is about ready to counter gank, but I'm not sure what it will do, as they are going to go for the dives. Well, sort of. They decide to back out, doing a lot of poke damage instead. It looks like Orianna, she might be able to find Nautilus in her own jungle, trying to see if there's anything they can do against him. Lux just missing her binding, and it looks like Zac is going to charge in, doing a little bit of CC and a little damage from Orianna, and it looks like the Nautilus hook will land. The chase is on. Here we go. They're going to be able to do a lot of damage, but an Orianna ultimate stopping Lux from going any further, but she lands a snare and follows up with the ulti. Great play there by Lux. She's going to be able to pick up another Zac kill.
Another insane thing about Lux is the cooldown or ultimate. That cooldown in that range just provides Lux so much dominance within her lane that...
Oh, and there we go. Very quick burst. As we know, popping those passive procs really do a lot. And in the bot lane, we also have an engagement as Kevin the Kitty decides to go try to kill as much as he can. And he's actually going to flash in for it, although he might not be able to live. Tower taking him down so very low. So they're going to give up the first deaths of their team, but at this point, the dive might not have mattered all that much because they're just so far ahead in this game.
No, I agree. It doesn't matter very much at all, just because, one, their lane's pushed up, so even if Zac or anybody was there to take advantage of that double kill, they wouldn't be able to get any tower damage down. And there we go. There's another tower taken for blue team. Red team really has to turtle up and allow blue team to make a mistake. They have to get in here. They have to start getting to the phase where team fights really become important, and they can get those initiations off.
And we see the fact that both mid laners, they've gone for a Chalice of Harmony and an Athene's built for Lux. What do you think of that?
A Chalice of Harmony is definitely needed by Orianna because it'll let her get more of her spells off, but also Lux is doing so much damage to her that she needs to be able to stay in lane longer. And that's something we don't see a lot of people do, is building slightly tankier when they're losing, because not only are tankier items and survivability items cheaper, but they allow you to stay in lane, allow you to at least attempt to catch up. Because if you're going to keep building damage and the other person's building the same exact build, you're just further behind. It's like in StarCraft, where if you're doing the same exact build and somebody does pressure on you and succeeds in his pressure...
Oh, there we go. It looks like Thresh lands a great hook over the wall, forcing Graves to flash over. It looks like the Lantern will spot him. He's going to be able to run away, however. They might be able to catch up to him, but meanwhile, in the mid lane, Lux is just landing her full burst onto Orianna, picking up that quick kill. As we talked about earlier on in the game, she's got a ton of very quick burst, and it looks like they're going to catch out Leona. A lot of CC going down. The Thresh hook is... and the Nautilus hook to follow that up. He's getting pulled around all over the map, and there goes another kill for the blue team.
Yeah, now we're gonna see a dragon here, as there's nothing really here for the contestant. As Grave is far too low to even do anything to try to stop them from this. Something we did miss during that exchange is that
Oh,
oh
nice Thresh to just basically spot him with a lantern and pick it up with an auto attack. Great
yeah
play there, and it looks like the blue team, they're taking drag.
yeah, they're gonna take dragon. It wasn't even a contest for that. And now red teams pushed all the way to their base. Something we did miss there was a gank onto Singed. Singed was kind of low. He'd been taking damage from Malphite, but Malphite was kind of low. So Zach did jump in there, but we just see the utility of the utility, mobility, and tankiness of Singed, as he was not only able to send Malphite back, but was able to survive the entire gank himself.
Looks like the blue team, they're going to try to pull off a dive onto Orianna. She's going to land a great ultimate. Lux Laser not really needed, but it looks like he's going to fail the flash over the wall. Draven is going to get caught under the tower, and he's going to end up dying. Kevin the Kitty now being the one to tank it, throws out a box. Looks like he's going to pull Leona back in. Unfortunately, 4 members of the red team following up here, and the blue team, they're in a tough situation, but it looks like Lux is able to turn around and pick up a kill on Leona with a final snare, and it looks like Nautilus is here as well. They might be able to turn this fight around. There we go, the Zac passive popped, and there goes Malphite. He's going to die as well. A pull from Nautilus, able to capture Graves. It looks like the Ignite will end up finishing him off. All a very good team fight for the blue team. They're really, really far ahead.
Honestly, I thought blue team was in some trouble there, but we really do. That is really a testament to the blue team's skill here, that they were able to kill 3 characters at full health, while 3 of their characters are at about 20% HP. I mean,
Yeah.
not only have they been on top of their game, but they're just showing how well they know these characters that they've picked, how well they know this meta.
Yes, they do seem to know the meta quite well. They've been ganking around a lot. They've been using their champions to their fullest extent, and Lux is still sitting in the enemy jungle trying to poke down Orianna as much as possible. We see almost half of her health taken out with one combo. One, I believe it was Lucent Singularity as well as a passive proc. She's doing so much damage right now. But looking towards the builds, we see the fact that Draven has already got a Bloodthirster and a Last Whisperer. Very, very far ahead of Graves, who doesn't even have a Bloodthirster.
And really, he could have just built even more just straight damage items. None of the other team, except for Leona, has any armor items, even though it is an aura item. He could have just gone for those more expensive damage items and probably got even more ahead than where he was right now.
Yeah, Last Whisperer giving him a little bit of penetration, but here we go. Here's the gank. It looks like a bunch of pulls will be able to kill Leona, and now they're going to end up chasing House MD3. Looks like they're going to try to cut him off. He's throwing out a Lucent Singularity, but it looks like Orianna is going to try to fight back, not getting the ultimate off, and there goes Lux's ultimate. She's going to be able to kill him fairly quickly, and Zac died in that fight as well. It looks like another very good fight for the blue team. Thresh flashing over the wall at Baron after tanking a little bit of aggro, but it looks like in the top lane, Singed is just pushing down this tower as much as possible.
Yeah, Singed just being a jerk like he usually is, firing behind the tower, throwing people around. Nothing much you can do about it at this point.
Pretty known for farming under the tower, but it looks, ooh, the Thresh hook almost lands, and he's going to follow that up, trying to go in for it with the ultimate. He looks like Thresh is going to get killed, but the Ignite is also going to be able to kill Malphite as well. And in the bot lane, or in the mid lane, we also have another tower taken as Draven goes pushing the mid lane. Not 20 minutes yet. I can definitely see the red team's probably going to end up surrendering this game.
With
They're
the 50,
pretty far behind.
Yeah, with 50% gold advantage for blue team, 5 times the kills.
He's going to actually end up ulting. Zac is being taken down extremely low. Draven is even tanking out all this damage. He's got so much lifesteal, and there goes a double kill with the spinning axis. A Nautilus hook lands onto Orianna. Orianna's taking a lot of damage, just barely flashing out of the range of the last Lux ult, but it looks like Draven's passive will be able to pick up the quadra kill. Let's see if he decides to dive through to try to get Malphite for the Pentas. Looks like that's not going to be able to happen. Malphite might actually be trying to give it up as well, just saying go for it in chat. And he's going to be able to fight it. Unfortunately, I think the timer has worn off for the Penta.
Yeah, definitely. It's gone. Especially because Zac's already came back.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate for Draven. Almost got the Penta.
Almost.
But it looks like they're taking an inhibitor. Blue team, so far ahead, I really don't think there's a way for the red team to come back into this. But they're going to try with Zac jumping in, trying to CC Nautilus a little bit, but it looks like Thresh is going to land his own pull, going back into the fight, doing a lot of damage as well as Nautilus, and they're going to be able to kill Graves really, really quickly. And meantime, Draven is doing a lot of damage to Zac as well, and it looks like he's going to try to kill Leona instead, and here we go, a double kill for him. It looks like Thresh is going to do the box, and there we go, the Lux ultimate, not needed there at all, but look, she's got enough. cooldown reduction, and it's a short cooldown. She's going to have that up fairly soon anyway,
Yeah.
and they're going to be able to win this.
By the time anybody comes up, and by the time it matters, it'll be back up. Really, what's going to have to happen is that the only way Red's going to come back is if they end up making this like an hour-long game, and they get the Gosu Baron still with the Gosu Baron engage. That's literally the only way I see them coming back from this game.
And even then, it's really hard. It's going to be up to the blue team to basically throw this even harder in order for the red team to come back into it. So they're just kind of staying in the base, pushing down, not quite ending it yet. It looks like Lux is going back as well as Nautilus, and they're going to exit out of the space. They could easily end it right here, but just prolonging the game a little bit.
I mean, it's better. In all honestly, though, it's better to be safe than sorry. Even if you're as far ahead as they are, 50% gold advantage, 6 times the kills almost, 7 times. It's really just better to go back, make sure you're healed up, make sure everything is good to go, so you don't lose that advantage. I mean, in closer games, you can see that when you go ham, you're gonna lose because you're gonna be down a character, you're gonna be down like somebody important, and then they're just gonna collapse on you. But really, I don't think that's something that blue team has to worry about too much here.
Yeah, at this point, we even see that Draven is really tanky in terms of his lifesteal more than anything. He actually picked up a Twin Shadows. He's going to get a little magic resist as well as movement speed. But it looks like a great snare lands from Lux. He's going to be able to take down Leona. And it looks like Zac is going to try as much as he can to do anything. Lux, oh my god, doing a ton of damage onto Graves. And Graves is going to have to retreat into the base. And, oh wow, picking up the kill onto Zac. Lux just extremely strong as well as everyone else from the blue team. They're just going to push down onto this tower. Let's see how long it takes before they actually decide to full-on end it. They're just trying to fight right near the fountain, and it looks like they have enough CC to prevent him from getting back in there. And, oh, just barely not killing Graves. He's going to live from that. And it looks like they're going to be able to take this tower from the Nexus and keep pressuring, but it looks like Leona's going to try to come back into it, doing as much CC as possible, but there's so many shields over there for the blue team. They're going to be able to keep Draven alive for a very long time, but he's actually going to be taken down by Graves, and it looks like they are fighting quite a bit. They're actually taken down extremely low. They might actually lose this fight. It looks like Brookbane almost picking up the kill. There we go. Thresh ends up dying, but it looks like Lux is able to clean up the fight. She's going to be able to take down Graves, and now Leona is the only member left alive for the red team. Now Malphite is back up. They are going to try to pressure down this turret for the Nexus, but there we go. The Nexus has now died, and they might be going for the Nexus itself, but they might actually be going for the Malphite kill instead, doing a lot of damage. And there we go. The ultimate from Lux going out. It looks like they're going to try as hard as they can to kill Lux. Looks like the red team there are going to be successfully killing Lux, and it looks like Nautilus is the only one left alive for the blue team in the enemy base, and he's actually going to be taken down pretty low, but here goes Singed. He's just going to dance up there near the top lane inhibitor and do nothing but dance. The Draven ultimate helping Nautilus out a little bit, securing the kill onto Leona, and here goes Nautilus. He's going to be able to kill Boom Kane, and no, he looks like he's going after Graves. Singed is still dancing up the top lane. He's got some great moves up there, I have to say.
Yeah.
The dancing strategy really paying off for Singed. They're waiting a very long time to end this. And,
I mean,
yeah.
Really, they can. Really, it's their game now. They can end it as soon as they want to. But we did see ultimate go down from Zac there, but that was kind of a waste, though.
There's a hook. They're going to be able to kill Orianna really quickly, and Boom Kane trying to do as much as he can. It looks like the Malphite ultimate might be able to do something. He's going to be taking down Nautilus very low and just barely out of range of Nautilus. Zac is going to get killed instead by Thresh, and Thresh is now the one pushing. And Singed has moved. He's moved closer to the fountain, only to dance a little bit more. So he's dancing
with Leona.
right outside the fountain, and Leona is joining him. And there we go. Draven is here as well. He's going to be able to kill Malphite. I'm not sure if... I don't think they're going to end up targeting Leona, because Leona's just kind of dancing along with them. No, they're just completely ignoring Leona. And they might be trying to take this Nexus soon enough. Going to try to kill Graves first, actually. There goes the Thresh hook. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage. And the Nexus, just about half health. And if the blue team doesn't end it here, the minions surely will. So it looks like this game might finally end, just delaying it for as long as possible. And there we go. There's the GG Super Minions OP. Very good dancing coming out from both teams, but it looks like the blue team, they just had a little bit stronger of a game.
Yeah, we definitely saw that as just the bottom lane was able to dominate. Singe was able to farm, and Zach just really needed to get into those lanes more and get those ganks off, especially on bottom lane. And we really also saw the power of Lux and how much of a Death Star she can be even early game.
Yeah, she's done so much. And I like the Death Star reference with the laser. I think she can. Well, I guess Malphite is considered to be made of Earth, so she could, in theory, blow up the Earth. If you want to look at it in some weird, loopholey way. So she did blow up the Earth a couple times. So new a new name for Lux is the Death Star, but well deserved as well. 13-1 and 8. She's been chunking down people the entire game. Had a Rabadon's death cap as well as Athene's Unholy Grail, giving her cooldown reduction on top of a little bit of ability power and magic resist. So, and mana regen actually. Athene's Unholy
Mm.
Grail really good for that as well. And she's just got really strong during that game, and there really wasn't anything that the red team could combat that with. They just fell behind way too early.